Now, a couple of questions about banks. It's no secret that developers and businesses are having a lot of trouble getting funding at the moment. Where is the money available? What are you, let's say Commonwealth Bank, what are you lending on at the moment? And is it starting to free up a bit?
Well, we'll lend to developers who have got a good track record, people that we know can execute and deliver, and we've got a number of developers that we back in that way. But certainly there are developers out there that who may previously been provided accommodations by non-bank lenders and some of the organisations that provided mezzanine debt. Certainly that's not a part of the market that we are attracted to. It's never been a core part of our business. So we've very much stuck to the area of property lending that has been the area that we've done successfully over many years. So it comes down to making sure you're dealing with people that have got a good track record and certainly run their property development businesses in a very prudent manner. But, we all know of property developers who the first drawer have gone out and bought a new boat or a Ferrari.
I've got a few of those.
Yeah, so those are probably not the sort of developers that we're in the market to support.
You're not sort of attracted to them.
No.
Right. So the mum and dads that are fearful of making a move and that, basically if they've got a good income, they can afford it, there's no shortage of money, because at one stage it was very hard to get money.
Well, certainly as far as we're concerned, there's no issue there. If a client has got the appropriate level of deposit, has got a good job and repayments aren't an issue, then they'll have no difficulty getting a loan in this environment.
With the public now saving so much more, is the money that's being used more of savings, local savings, as opposed to offshore money?
Yeah, there's no doubt that what's happened is we've seen obviously a reduced demand for borrowing over the last 18 months or so, as we've seen this increase in deposits. So that means that we've effectively been overfunding. So we've been able to more than satisfy the requirement for lending growth with the increased deposits, but it's also meant that we've been able to pay down some of the wholesale debt that we have and rebalance the bank's book.
So basically there is money around, but you need to be a good client, or you need to be a person well and truly able. There's no speculation anymore, is there?
Yeah, I think we're not interested in lending to people on,
I'm digging around here.
We're not interested in lending to people for speculative purposes, because I think at this point that's probably not a smart thing to be doing. I think we don't know where things are going to go over the next period, but I think that where people, as I say, know what they're doing, have got a reasonable amount of equity, have got the ability to repay, then I don't see there's an issue.
Now you mentioned you're not sure where it's going. I'm really keen to know your thoughts, or the bank's, or the prognosis for the next year.
Well, I think as far as we're concerned, we're taking a very cautious approach. We've taken the view that we should make sure that we've got our funding locked in several months in advance so that we don't get ourselves short in this type of environment. We're holding significantly higher levels of liquidity, so we've gone for what you would call a fortress balance sheet, to make sure that whatever the market throws at us, we're able to absorb. Now, that's very much a defensive position at this point, but having seen what's gone on over the last 2 or 3 years, then I think that's a very appropriate positioning to take for the organisation.
So is this a period where, from a management point of view, steady as she goes, no, don't worry about super growth or anything, just keep it nice and clean and just let's get through this?
Yeah, I think it's very much a case of saying, hey, we're going to go through a pipeline here for a period of what is going to be a period of potential, further shocks, and we shouldn't. I don't actually think that the global financial crisis actually ended. I think we went through a period where it wasn't as pronounced, but we've obviously seen a situation over the last few months that says that we should always be prepared for the fact that there could be more external shocks.
Gut instincts, do you think it's 1, 2, 3 years, 5 years?
I think that for Europe, it's probably a 15, 20 year. It could be like Japan. I mean, Japan has been in difficulty now for over 20 years. So from a point of view of stagflation and the like, Europe has got a huge amount of debt, and to get out of that, and they've got demography working against them. You know, the workforce is ageing, the pension entitlements and all the rest of it that have been locked in by the European governments are significant. So, you know, in many respects, I just wonder how they're actually going to solve a lot of those problems. But it is going to take strong leadership, and it is going to take somebody putting in place plans that the market is actually going to turn around and say, that makes sense, that's going to work.
So basically what we've got now we need to get used to and just start to live within our means and live what I would have considered years ago a normal life.
I think what will happen is, Anthony, is that people will start to discern much more the differences, because what will happen is at the moment we've had the situation where it's been sort of carte blanche, everybody's been treated in a similar manner. I think we're going to get into a situation now where over the next year or two, investors internationally will start to say, yeah, I think you know, places like Australia being on the fringe of Asia, being much more linked into the Asian economy than the US or the European economy is a reasonable place to be. And I think that, you know, that will happen. It's like what happened after the, you know, in the late 80s and into the early 90s. People started to realise that, you know, all of the world wasn't homogenous. You know, the Japanese problem wasn't impacting everywhere else. So I think from that perspective, you'll see us get re-rated.
South Australia, how do you see South Australia?
Well, South Australia has been, you know, had major problems obviously in the early 90s and has done a great job in coming out of that. And I think that, you know, obviously with things like Olympic Dam and Roxby, and Roxby, that it's in a great position. So, yeah, I think that South Australia has got, you know, probably it's probably got a greater future to look forward to than it's had in the past in many respects. Well, more particularly in the last 30, 40 years.
Such a small economy that's had such a hard time, we can handle it.
Yeah, I mean, South Australia has proven itself to be pretty resilient, and some tough decisions have been made over the years as it's gone through, obviously moving away from lots of some of the manufacturing that used to take place here. But you know, obviously, I think the resources sector, and let's face it, food and wine and things like that, over the years ahead, are going to be areas where I think you'll see above market growth.
A couple of quick ones to finish off on. You are retiring. You looking forward to that?
Sure.
What day?
30th of November.
So when is the 100th anniversary?
We'll be
for the Commonwealth Bank.
We'll be celebrating the 100th anniversary on the 12th of December.
After you've gone?
Yeah, no.
Why would you do that?
Well, for me, it was really important that my successor got to kick off the next 100 years. And really, it's about that. The past is the past, and you know, for me to hang on for another couple of weeks to do that, I thought,
fantastic.
What I will do is I will propose the toast to the next 100 years.
Good stuff. And Ian, just a quick rundown on your successor. Will he have the same culture? Can we look forward to more of the same, or will he take it and make it and put his stamp on the bank?
Ian is going to be an outstanding chief executive of the bank. I mean, he has tremendous intellect. He's got fantastic people skills. He very much buys into exactly the same philosophy that I have as far as how an organisation should be run, and certainly, you know, he's proven over the last 2.5 years in running our business and private bank what a fantastic job he's been able to do with that, and so I see him being outstandingly successful.
He's 44 years old.
Absolutely.
And he's a New Zealander, he's a Kiwi.
Well, he got the job because the board selected him, not because of me.
No, but we have our vineyard manager who's a Kiwi. Great, really bright, switched on. I absolutely think it's awesome. So there's no problem there. Now, just a couple more things. So he will take over on that day. The transition's pretty much in place.
Yeah, we're in the process of transition now.
Right. Okay. So it's like a handing over.
Yeah, handing over process.
Right. Okay. 100-year anniversary. What then will be mapped out? Presumably, will be how does the next 100 years look from the bank?
Yeah, I think as far as the next 100 years is concerned, that's a long way to look. It's a long way to look. But this is a great milestone. The bank's achieved a lot over that 100 years. You know, to become the biggest bank in Australia, with the other banks being significantly older than the Commonwealth Bank, I think just shows that over the period we have done the right thing by our customers.
Now, Ralph, we often ask this of our guests, and I just see how you go with this. But for those watching, what are the 3 most profound words of wisdom after being head of Australia's biggest bank, probably the most successful bank in history, that you can share exclusively with TOOP TV listeners and viewers?
People, people, people.
Ah, very good, very good. Well, Ralph, thank you very much for that. It's been absolutely awesome having you. Much appreciated.
My pleasure, Anthony.